Welcome to the show. I'm James.
I'm Riley.
I'm Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And today we're discussing Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones for some reason. We'll laugh, we'll argue, we might get a little too into it because it's Star Wars, but at the end of the day, they're just movies.
Spoiler alert!
We're the show that, according to a recent 5-star review from Little Sunflower, has hilarious banter, and I feel like I have friends in the car with me when I'm listening in traffic.
We are there with you right now.
I say put us on when your actual friends are in the car. If they try to talk, just shh, it's rude to interrupt.
We're better than them anyways.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Ask them to be better. Next week, we're going to do Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for that movie.
I have not seen anything.
It's Daniels. They did Swiss Army Man.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm so stoked.
That changes my thought process going into this. But today, it's episode 2 all day. So, David?
Mark's in the room.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, David's gone. Mark.
We should just
that's
say,
me.
Mark, why do you think you're here?
I'm a Star Wars fan. I think.
You're a Star Wars guy?
Yeah, kinda.
Big Star Wars guy.
Pretty big.
You guys are both medium to large Star Wars guys.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I feel like I was a huge Star Wars guy, and now in the current era, I've what do you call that? I've strayed from the faith a little.
It's like the Marines. Once a Star Wars guy, you're always a Star Wars guy.
Yeah. It's unfortunately. I'm tied to this franchise that I would like to forget, but I can't.
I thought I was a Star Wars guy as a kid. It turns out next to real Star Wars guys, I'm not
Right.
Star Wars guy.
But
So
you're like a medium.
yeah, I'll be here just saying I have compiled a whole list of stuff that is just so stupid and funny. So that's my job today. So, okay, Mark, Star Wars guy, give us your capsule review and rating out of 10 for this movie.
Oh, sure. All right. So, Attack of the Clones. A lot of stuff happens, most of it not having anything to do with clones. But between the shoddy dialogue and subpar acting and tedious plot, there are some hidden gems that make this a 3.
A 3 out of 10. Now, is that
Wait,
on
really?
Is that on your all movies scale or your Star Wars scale?
Oh.
Oh no.
I would say all movies.
All movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
because
it's not a good movie.
it would be a higher rating if it was just a Star Wars thing.
No, not by much.
Oh man. See, this is great. This is great that this is the week that David is gone. He was like, I'm gone this week. You guys can do Star Wars because he did not want to talk
He
about
is
Star Wars.
sick of Star Wars. He doesn't want to talk about it.
I, on the other hand, I would always take an opportunity to talk more about Star
So
Wars.
give us your rating.
Here's my slogan. The second Star Wars prequel gets so many things right and so many things wrong. But because it gets the right things wrong, the wrong things are all right. Misa bustin' with happiness, seeing dissin' hissin' again.
I saw it. I had the subtitles on. He said he's busting. Jar Jar,
Misa bustin' with happiness, seeing you again.
he's busting, y'all. Oh, man.
My rating is 6 out of 10. Because...
Now, keep in mind, everyone, The Godfather Part 2 was a 7 for Riley.
No, it was a 6.75.
Oh, my God.
But here's the deal, okay?
Credibility shattered.
We'll get into this. The Last Jedi was a decent movie, but a bad Star Wars movie. This is a great Star Wars movie, but a bad movie overall. So what am I supposed to do with it? I had a great time. I was laughing. I feel like it's the type of bad where it's not offensive that it's bad. It's just kind of like, oh, that's kind of funny. Okay, you go, James.
Episode 2 is an overlong prelude to Revenge of the Sith. It doesn't have a protagonist or really even a dramatic question. Lots of cringe acting, though. 5 out of 10.
5?
Yeah.
You gave it a bigger rating than Mark?
When I was a teenager and I watched this movie, I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater twice. I thought it was bitchin'. I loved the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it as a teenager.
I feel like I'm trying to be honest to how I saw it when I was a kid, you know? It's like, this was fun. We had fun with this.
We ain't kids no more.
Yeah, we didn't take it so
No,
seriously.
I'm saying we ain't kids no more. I'm an adult and I watched it and now I understand why people at the time were like, Hayden Christensen, so whiny.
Right.
I hate Anakin.
Yeah.
Their love stuff is all so cringe.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
writing is so bad.
Yeah.
I kind of hate this movie. It was the first time I've ever been watching a movie for this podcast and I had to stop myself from texting a friend about something completely unrelated.
Okay, you
I
know
was
what?
so bored.
You're right.
I made a bowl of cereal without pausing.
Me too. I went and got some ice cream.
This sucks.
Okay, fine. I'm lowering my rating. It's 5.5. The 5.5, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
But I still enjoyed it. So that's why it's above a 5. I had a good time watching it.
Man, I'm going to have a good time telling you about all these funny things I found. Right after this message from our sponsor, GroveMade. GroveMade create next-level modern desk accessories for your home, office, and everyday carry. They strike a balance between minimalist design and function, and their products are made in the USA. USA!
Okay.
Build your dream workspace so you can get your best work done. They offer things like laptops, and headphone stands, planters, pens, knives, all sorts of good stuff. I got one of the pens, and it's good stuff. Upgrade your desk today. New customers can use code TJM for 10% off at lmg.gg/GroveMade. They are our sole sponsor. That's it. We're done.
GroveMade.
Okay. This movie, even if you did watch it yesterday.
Were you confused about what happened?
No, I followed it, but I had to. I think there was a time where I paused it and I was like, okay, so he's doing this right now. He's doing that right now. I got it.
Right. And it's kind of, it's hard for me to tell whether I followed it perfectly because I've seen this movie many times and I'm familiar with the plot details, but I don't know. None of us can really speak to that.
It's so interesting because it's not like the plot isn't why you're watching it. It's like the plot is secondary. Because it's like, all we're trying to do is get to movie 3 where the stuff happens.
Which is why
so this is just like interstitial tissue that just has to make sure all the lines are connected. So that's why I'm saying it's a prelude to an actual movie, and this isn't even a movie.
I didn't feel so much like it was trying so hard to like lead to movie 3. I just felt like it was just a bunch of like excuses to have some cool battles and stuff.
But there's so few and far between.
There's action.
Remind us of the
There's
action.
Intrigue. 10 years after the battle at Naboo, the Galactic Republic is threatened by separatists organized by former Jedi Master Count Dooku. When Senator Padme Amidala arrives on Coruscant to vote on whether to create an army to counter this threat, she narrowly survives an assassination attempt and is placed under the protection of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and his apprentice, Anakin Skywalker. The Jedi subdue an assassin who is killed before she can reveal her employer's identity. The Jedi Council sends Obi-Wan to find the killer and assigns Anakin to escort Padme back to Naboo. Obi-Wan's search leads him to the planet Kamino, where he discovers an army of clones being produced for the Republic, with bounty hunter Jango Fett serving as the original template. After a brief battle, Jango and his clone son, Boba, clone sons, they escape, but Obi-Wan tracks them to the planet Geonosis. Meanwhile, on Naboo, Anakin and Padme are falling in love. But Anakin, haunted by visions of his mother, goes to Tatooine with Padme to save her. He finds his mother abducted by Tusken Raiders, but she dies in his arms, and an enraged Anakin massacres the entire tribe. He declares to Padme that he will find a way to prevent the deaths of those he loves. On Geonosis, Obi-Wan discovers Count Dooku overseeing the creation of a separatist droid army and tells the Jedi Council about this before he is captured. Dooku visits him in his cell and claims that the Sith Lord Darth Sidious is in control of the Galactic Senate, but Obi-Wan refuses Dooku's invitation to join him. Back on Coruscant, Jar Jar proposes a successful vote granting emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine, who authorizes the use of the clone army. Anakin and Padme head to Geonosis to rescue Obi-Wan, but they are also captured. But they're then all saved by a battalion of clone troopers led by Yoda, Mace Windu, and other Jedi. Windu beheads Jango and leads the clones into battle against the droid army, while Obi-Wan and Anakin chase down Dooku and have a good old lightsaber duel. But they get rocked and are saved by Yoda before Dooku escapes to Coruscant, where he delivers the Death Star plans to Sidious. As the Republic prepares for all-out war, Anakin marries Padme on Naboo, with C-3PO and R2-D2 as the only witnesses. They're the constant throughout the series. The main characters, if you will.
The droids?
The droids.
Who is the main character in this movie?
I don't know. Maybe Anakin? But I was actually thinking about that at the end of the movie. We're not even spending a lot of time with Anakin here. He gets his arm chopped off, and then we're like, it's almost like the Padme Anakin arc kind of ends once they like kiss before they go into the arena, and then it's like, oh, we forget about them for the rest of the movie. And it's just like battle time for a battle.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons why it wouldn't be Anakin, but then there's reasons why it wouldn't be Obi-Wan either, because he doesn't change at all.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is pretty static in this.
Whereas you've got that scene, you've got a couple tantrum scenes with Hayden, where he's like, especially after he kills the Tusken Raiders, where it's like, whoa, that's a big shift towards the dark side.
There's definitely some dramatic shift for Anakin. It's very, like, not that obvious until later on.
What? That he's going dark side?
Well, the shift. Like, it seems like not much of a shift. I don't know if that's the dialogue or the acting.
It seems like not much of a shift.
Yeah, but it's actually huge.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we don't know. Like, we know he's very upset when he's saying, "I killed them all, the women, the children." Like, but we don't know if that's just how he is, because we've seen him do a couple of tantrums already in the movie, and we just met him.
Yeah.
Really, right? We meet him in that car chase.
Yeah, it's interesting. That was one of the things I thought as this movie was kind of spinning up. I was like, okay, this Anakin that we see is already so different than the Anakin we saw in episode 1. But it's 10 years later. He was 9 years old in the first one, and he's 19 here. He's like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do
got
catch
pubes
us
now.
up. What?
Never mind.
Probably.
That's what boys get when they go through puberty.
I don't think that's canon.
Yeah, that's true. He might be smooth.
Shaved with the lightsaber.
That might be Jedi.
Only a
protocol.
Jedi can get a shave that close.
with a lightsaber. That's why they have to train so hard.
I need to check Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Did you know Anakin carries a blaster? Oh, hell, let me tell you.
Wait, does he?
The big one, too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
I was like, does he actually carry a blaster?
Oh.
I feel like the movie does a decent job at kind of like letting us get to know him, because so much of the dialogue is awkward, so much of the writing is like weird and stilted, like no one talks like this. But what I did like was Obi-Wan and Anakin's dynamic. I feel like they do feel like a partnership. It feels like they've been through adventures together. And I like how like Obi-Wan's the dad and he's like the plucky kid, and they kind of
It feels
clash.
like they've been on adventures together. It's pretty shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Remember that time we were
Yeah.
we killed all those gloop glops on Praxtel 4?
Oh, Praxtel 4.
Like they literally have
Never
lines
going
like
back
that.
there again.
But I agree with you. By the time they split up and he's going to be the guardian of the the senator, and then he's going to find the bounty hunter, by then you know who he is.
Yeah.
You know he's reckless in this way and cocky in that way, and
I like that doesn't, like, you're right that the way that they let you know is like a little shoehorned in, but like in just the dialogue and the way that they interact throughout the movie, I feel like that it never felt forced, it never felt fake. Like I believed that they had been on these adventures together.
playing gloop glops on
Well,
Praxtel 4.
especially because there are a number of like memes that they kind of like carry throughout the movie, like him losing his lightsaber and stuff,
Yeah.
and how like Obi-Wan hates flying and Anakin likes it, and he's like, oh, I hate when he does that, and he jumps out of the thing, and
Or
yeah, it's
like when he gets the lightsaber sliced up and he's like, oh, Obi-Wan's going to kill me.
yeah, Obi-Wan's gonna get, and that was like the third time that it was something about the lightsaber. So I like that they had that kind of relationship, and I think that's why, people latched onto that so hard, and then it became like such a thing in the Clone Wars TV show. It was like, okay, this could be a basis for something, for an extended narrative.
Also, Obi-Wan, kind of a dick. It's like, my young Padawan. Like, says
What do you
that
mean?
about, like, he just the way he like treats Anakin.
Well,
just
dude, he's like in his
that's
mid-30s, and this kid's like 19.
Yeah.
Oh, I live with a teenager, man. I'm like, shut up, Anakin.
They're the
Yeah,
worst.
but
They are.
Yeah.
But he's like, even when he's like complimenting him, it like, oh, that's very
Intuitive?
intuitive.
because it's-
my young Padawan. Like,
Yeah, they always
Yeah.
say learner, too.
that's my young learners.
we don't really get a ton of that context in this movie, I guess, but like definitely once the kind of lore was padded out a bit, it was clear that Padawans are supposed to just kind of do what
Yeah.
they're told, you know.
Know
You're
your
not supposed-
place. He tells
Yeah.
him, know your place.
yeah,
Yeah.
know your place. Yeah.
So that's why, oh man, but like that scene is so awkward. What's it, like when they first meet Padme again,
Yeah.
and they're sitting down, it's like, all right, we're here to protect you and we're gonna do security, whatever, and it's like, we're not gonna find out who it is. Like that's not our job.
Mhm.
And Anakin's like, we'll definitely find out who it is. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, it's part of the job. It's like, shut up. Like they're having an argument in
Yeah.
like a professional setting where they're like, it's like insubordination.
Yeah. And then he does that again. He like mansplains in front of the Naboo royalty and Parliament.
Yeah.
And then Amidala's like, looks at him like, shut up. I may be 5'2",
Yeah.
but I'm a seasoned senator.
I feel bad for Hayden Christensen because that's a great moment where I don't know whether it's like because he was actually bad or whether it was like because it was shot. Like obviously it was a whole number of reasons. Maybe he wasn't a great actor at that time. Like the writing was definitely bad. Maybe the shooting was bad. But like there are some moments where I'm like, I don't have a huge problem with the acting here, but it's just like the shot that they chose and the framing. It's like the thing that I'm thinking of in that sequence is that she's like, oh, he's not a Jedi, he's just a Padawan. And he's like, excuse me. It's like, I don't know. I think it was a writing thing more than anything.
I'm going to
there.
blame George Lucas more than Christensen because there's some writing. I would argue, I know there's great actors out there who can really polish a turd, but I think there's a limit to that. And there's like Natalie Portman, she's a good actor. but when she says, Anakin, you're breaking my heart,
Yeah.
it becomes a meme.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Like, there's just some lines that are really hard to say
Oh my gosh.
in a cool way.
The scene where they're sitting like by the fire and they're trying to figure out whether they can be together, and Natalie Portman, Padme is trying to explain like why they can't do it. The thing that she's saying is like not the words that anyone would use ever. Like, if you follow your thoughts through to conclusion, it will take us to a place we cannot go, regardless of how we feel for each other.
It's awful. And it's like in the next movie too, like, from my perspective, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah.
It's just
and then he's like, no, we have to give it a chance or whatever. And she's like, I will not give in to this.
Can I go?
You're
off?
humans.
Let's
Why
go.
are you
I
talking?
want Mark to go
I
off.
want to go off on a tangent here.
Yeah, go.
Because this is something I noticed, and I was like, really like trying to grasp at straws, but then I kind of wound up on like a foreign language website. Well, just okay.
Google Translate.
No, Japanese reviews. Like it was like a movie review
I
site
see.
in Japanese.
Right.
And I was like, I wonder what the rating is. And it's surprisingly very high.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, that's interesting.
because it's anime.
No,
because
No, because it's translated.
Yeah, the
Because when you read
performance is
translation,
dubbed.
What?
Because it's dubbed. Yeah, it's translated
right.
into Japanese.
And they translated it in a way that makes more sense.
And I'm sure like, well, at least I don't know, but like Riley, you've done
Anime
voice.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm sure the writing was pretty awkward at points.
Yeah. Sometimes
Translations.
you're like doing a dub and the way that they translated it like feels kind of awkward. So then like in the booth, you and the engineer or the director are talking and you're just like, oh, let's change this to this. And you just like kind of massage it a little bit so it makes it a little bit more sense.
oh,
So I feel like
But even-
extra pass that
Yeah.
George Lucas needed.
Even
Yeah.
with that though, sometimes like English dubs of animes can come out feeling kind of stilted and weird.
So I feel like the dialogue in Attack of the Clones is almost like it was dubbed from another language
Right.
into English.
The best version of Attack of the Clones is the Japanese dub.
Probably.
Well, even if you're watching, like, say you're watching Squid Game and you're watching with subtitles,
Yeah.
and if they read awkwardly, and you can tell, no one would say that if this was natively English. You have this like layer where you give it the benefit of the doubt, and you're like, okay, this is the sentiment he's saying. I'll just interpret it that way. But when it's just coming out of a native speaker's mouth and it's cringe as hell,
Yeah.
I wish that I could just wish my feelings away. Bro, you just said wish twice.
Yeah.
A writer just wrote that. I wish I could wish my feelings away.
Yeah.
My God.
As long as we're on the weird dialogue stuff, like I feel like the prototypical example in this movie that people talk about is the "I hate sand" line. I hate sand. It's coarse and blah, blah, blah. It gets everywhere.
Irritating.
Yeah. But how did that come across to you guys this time? Because I feel like I have thoughts.
I mean,
It was just
No.
another bad line.
But
yeah, I
also-
don't think it stood out.
but also like context. He's Tatooine,
Right.
right? So
That's
like
why it
that's
makes
the
sense, yeah.
context. Like it makes sense. It's just it does.
I feel like because that line was so memed, I would pay extra attention to it this time, and I was like, you know what? The overall dialogue in that scene isn't that bad. It's a bit like there's a bit of like who talks like this, but overall, like you say, it kind of like makes sense from his character perspective. You know, she's talking about how it was so nice when we laid on the sand, blah blah blah, and he's like, I fucking hate sand. I don't want to talk about sand. Yeah,
Let's go play in a meadow instead.
yeah. I got a piece of sand stuck in my eye one time. I was there for weeks. Like, so it's like I was like, okay, I can kind of dig this, which is like, which is why it's so hard for me to watch these movies and think of George Lucas as a complete hack, because it's clear that he was on to something, and these prequels, they were given to him, or I guess the studio or whatever, Lucasfilm, decided, yeah, we should have George do these all on his own because everyone loves the original trilogy, and we should have the pure artist vision. And he's like, and then they figured out at the end of all of it
That the pure artist was a 12-year-old virgin in his room being like, ooh.
yeah,
Like,
they're
okay.
like, oh, this isn't an auteur. This is just George, a grown up 12-year-old who wanted to play with his toys.
And it's not just the dialogue, actually. It's more than that. The scenes are weird scenes. They end
Right.
super abruptly. Like, there's at least twice where I was like, that's not a scene. That's not a scene. Like, when he's deciding
Right.
that he's going to go and get his mom, she's like, I'll go with you. And his reply, it's like he didn't even hear her. His
Yeah.
reply was, I'm sorry, I don't have a choice. And then it just ends.
Yeah.
Like, and there was another time where they kiss, and she's like, I should not have done that. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then the scene ends. It's just
Right.
It's so weird how it's cut
Yeah,
together.
he didn't quite get that, like, every scene and every act in a movie like should kind of have this like flow where there's a conflict established and then it's resolved and blah blah blah, and then you can move on.
Well, that's also an editorial issue, mistake too.
Mark's an editor, by the way.
Oh,
guys.
hi. I'm
Oh,
an
hi.
editor. No, but that is one issue too, is that, you can't just say, hey, we're going to do a wipe, and that's the end of the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Do
you think they just have like a disproportionate amount of time between, okay, we have this A story and this B story. I don't know which one's which, by the way. You have a cut between these. Let's be charitable and call them dual protagonists.
Nah, no.
These two characters.
I think Anakin is clearly the protagonist. It's just
I
like
don't
the
think that's
movie
clear.
kind of shits the bed at the end with him.
I don't know how clear that is.
Well, Obi-Wan's definitely not a protagonist. He doesn't he follows clues and stuff, but
Drives the whole plot forward.
But it's not about his character. He's just like,
No, that's true. But he's an iconic character. But
Sure.
he is actually not an iconic. I don't know.
I wouldn't call it dual protagonist, but yeah, it's just confusing. It's badly
It's just
done.
bad.
It's one
It's
protagonist
not a
badly
movie.
done.
That's my thesis on this episode.
It's not
This
a
is
movie.
not a movie.
It's a TV. It's half a TV episode.
Okay, but here's a third layer of why these scenes with Anakin and Padme don't work, is
Okay.
that they're just nonsensical. The first, let's say there's 10 scenes. I don't know how many there are, but let's say there's 10. The first 6 in a row, she just flat out rebukes him. He's like, hello, I think about you and dream about you and stuff. And she's like, you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just flat out, right explicitly, she's like, that's disgusting
Yeah.
and inappropriate, go away. She does that for the first 6 scenes, and on the 7th one, she just kisses him.
But he's a bad boy.
There's
he's a rebel.
there's no progression at all. She just suddenly.
What are you talking
Now they
about? This
kiss.
is classic. This is classic. Women want a bad boy. He doesn't follow the rules.
No, that's Wolverine and Jean Grey.
Hayden Christensen is
no
everything
Wolverine.
I want a man to be.
Well, George Lucas is also a product of his time and the content he consumed, which was a lot of westerns
Right.
and
Stoicism.
or
He's not stoic at all, but
No, I totally argue against that, because I think one of my major issues, and I think everybody feels this, is that he is not likable. Not George Lucas, Anakin. Anakin's not likable, and he needed to be likable, especially by
Yeah.
the time they get to the scene where they're discussing why, or could they have a secret relationship, and why that wouldn't work. It's like, you guys aren't even having this conversation because you don't like him, because he's not likable. He's
Right.
not cool. He's a virgin. He's such a creepy, weird incel.
yeah, he's a bit of an incel.
I guess he literally is a virgin.
Yeah, he's literally an
Not that
incel.
there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, in the worst way.
I just mean he's been this is why, and maybe this can get us into sort of the idea of the Jedi and how it's kind of messed up that they forbid not only if you think about priests in Catholicism or something, okay, they can't get married, but the Jedi go one step further. You can't even have familial attachments. He's
Right.
having dreams about his mother and stuff, and it's that's seen as a failure because you were supposed to leave your family behind and never think about them again.
right.
So it's okay, are we going to cut people off completely from any sort of social dynamic that would give them actual fulfillment, because they have this master apprentice relationship, but what are you going to get out of that? And then expect
there's
them
gotta
to
be
turn out.
pedophilia.
What's that? That's what Lauren was saying.
There's
We were
gotta
watching
be.
it. They're she's okay, wait, because I told them, I'm oh, they're getting married and they're not allowed to. That's against the Jedi code. And she's wait, they're not allowed to do any of that? And I'm yeah. She's they definitely do kids or something.
100%. Bring that sexy little rat tail
But I
over
never
here.
thought about that at all. We see the younglings in this movie,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
just yo, what the hell kind of shit is going on at the Jedi Temple? Do we need to call the space cops?
And damn it, Yoda.
And that librarian chick
The
at
right
the temple.
height.
Beautiful the mind of a child is. Beautiful the anus of a child. Like a seven.
That librarian she's willfully ignorant too.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not in the records, it doesn't exist. She just
Yeah.
turns a blind eye to all sorts of stuff.
But I think that's one thing that this movie does good. We've been shitting on it a lot. Usually we try to focus on the positives at the beginning.
A movie like this, though, it's just hilarious.
There's good stuff in this movie. For example, this is why watching this movie again made me remember why The Last Jedi irritated Star Wars people so much. You can speak to this, Mark. Because The Last Jedi came in and be oh yeah, you all worship the Jedi. You thought the Jedi were so great. well, guess what? They weren't so great. But like here we have episode 2, and it's already criticizing them.
Yeah.
Like we already see that Anakin is like still stunted in his emotional growth. They have an explicit part where Obi-Wan says Anakin's abilities have made him arrogant, and Yoda says, yes, a quality seen more and more among Jedi. Too sure of themselves they are. And it's like the whole
council was blind to the
yeah,
goings on.
Exactly. They got so full of themselves that they didn't notice a Sith Lord amongst in their midst.
A Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord. and so like the whole story of the prequels to Star Wars fans is very clearly the story of, okay, Anakin becoming Darth Vader, but also the fall of the Jedi because of their hubris.
Yeah.
I think that a problem with that, or like a reason why that maybe isn't so appreciated by people, is that, number one, it doesn't seem like the grievances that Anakin has are founded. They kind of just, he looks like a baby. He literally screams out, "It's not fair!"
Right.
It's not fair! It's like, shut up. Like, how about you just have like actual logical argument? And secondly, they don't do a good job of showing that like the separatists are valid in any way. They're not like a villain that you can, or it's not a movement you respect and can sympathize with. Like the opening crawl of this, I paused it after and I was like, wait a second. Because basically the opening crawl, the information they give you at the beginning is, there's a republic, a large portion of the republic wants to leave, and the answer to that is to create an army to make them stay. I'm like, this republic sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is garbage. So there needs to be a scene where it shows like the people, the separatists being like, why do they want to leave? Show me Dooku on one of these planets giving all these reasons why the Republic's garbage, why the Jedi are garbage, and all these valid reasons for me to think, damn, maybe the Jedi Order sucks, maybe the Republic sucks, maybe you do want to be a separatist.
That would definitely solidify the feeling that, okay, part of this movie is trying to criticize, the degradation of entrenched power structures that think they have had power for so long, and so only their way is right, and they, shouldn't listen to people criticizing like decent feedback to say or whatever. I think that would help a lot, but I think George Lucas was a lot more focused on the story of Anakin and the story of the Jedi, and how things are affecting them, and not kind of like the broader galactic politics.
That's why I'm saying it's not a movie, because it's like, okay, that stuff doesn't matter. The actual plot doesn't matter. What matters is that we get to the next movie, and then most of the Jedi are going to die.
I get
and that Anakin's going to turn.
But what you're describing isn't... I think what you're saying is valid, but like I think you're looking for a different kind of movie. Like you're looking for a movie that is more interested in kind of investigating the dynamics of politics and stuff, and how like different people groups have reasoning for enacting certain things.
I'm looking for something that's self-contained. This feels more like one 5-hour stretch of Wagner's 20-hour Ring cycle. It doesn't feel like a movie. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's one chapter in this big meta myth.
Right. No, I think I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
overall, about like it feeling incomplete.
Like Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Yeah. Joseph Campbell stuff.
There's not much of a hero's journey, but it is like,
but it could be a component of it is a component of the overall journey, right?
The one symbolism that really stood out to me actually was the wedding at the end.
Yeah.
It's like your sunset wedding, kind of going into the next chapter.
Right.
You see his robotic hand for the first time. You start to see like the visual imagery or metaphor of like becoming
of his fall.
Yeah, he's becoming the machine man.
Right. More machine now than man.
Yeah. So like it begins kind of thing.
Right.
And then pretty much I don't want to get too off topic, but the next movie it was like mostly dark time. And then the final scene is binary sunrise.
Wait, you're talking about the final scene of Revenge of the Sith now?
Yeah. I'm told you I don't want to get too off
That's
topic.
big spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like I agree with you, Mark. I think that like this is kind of like the beginning of the fall, and then the third one kind of solidifies it, and maybe we'll do the third one at some point if David takes another day off. But I think that while we were talking about the politics a little bit, and I think that that's another big thing that this movie gets criticized for, and the third one to a certain extent as well. I mean, all the prequels are criticized for kind of like talking about politics a lot in like a kids movie, and it's like the Senate must vote to authorize emergency powers to blah blah blah, and like kids like. For some reason, kids were into it though. Like kids loved these movies when they came out.
You tune out and go play Lego until they're fighting again.
But kids liked them.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. They liked them because they can tune out, and they're just like, yeah, they're talking blah 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 blah. Now the lightsabers are out. Yeah, but I feel like now watching it as an adult, I was kind of like, oh, I totally get this though. Like, okay, there are systems that want to separate. Count Dooku's at the head of them, and I understand vaguely how a Senate works and a parliamentary system works, and so they have to like vote to enact certain measures. That I don't think I understood any of that the first time I saw this. We're just kind of like government politics stuff, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I need a proxy to vote in my place." Jar Jar, how about you? I was like, "What? Jar Jar Binks is going to be your representative at the Senate? That is so stupid."
But Jar Jar, they changed him. They rebooted Jar Jar in this one. They're like, "Oh, he's not just an idiot."
Well, it turns out he ends up being a useful idiot. He ends up
literally
doing the exact thing
literally
that the bad guys
idiot.
want.
Oh my god.
Misa voting for no confidence. Like
the best part is that he says, did you guys watch the subtitles?
Yeah.
The best part he says something about the Federation do trade, and then he's like, Dello Feligates.
Yeah. In the subtitles they had it in quotes. Like they might as well put like parentheses sick. Like SIC.
You mean Jar Jar's just going around switching the first letters of words, and like everyone's like, yeah, I get what you mean.
The Spoonerism.
This is his dialect. He just switches letters around.
People were really into it. Everybody was applauding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but
when Anakin's like praising dictatorships, he's like, he's like, if it works, and he just smiles, and then she looks at him like he's completely stupid. He looks at him like he's so stupid, but then again, she was the queen of a planet, so whatever.
Exactly. There are a lot of things here that are just like, wait, what? What? How does Naboo's system work?
She loves democracy.
They regularly elect children, but then we're gonna elect children as child queens, but then they only have 2 terms.
Yo, this reminds me of Camino. Yo, that's a whole other issue. Obi-Wan shows up at Camino.
Yeah,
we assume from what we're shown, he goes to a planet he's never been to, for which no records exist, and he just parks, and it turns out he's at the exact right spot. And he goes there, and they're like, come on in. And he gets to talk to the Prime Minister. But it turns out the Prime Minister also has in-depth knowledge of how this corporation works.
Wait, what corporation?
That makes the clones. Is it state-owned? How does their government work?
Wait, what are you talking about?
The place where they make the clones.
Oh.
Is this a communist planet?
I think it's probably like a corporation / it's like the corporation owns the planet or something.
He's the Prime Minister CEO, baby.
Yeah, they called him the Prime Minister.
Yeah, it's just okay. And then they're so damn accommodating and trusting.
I mean, it's space. Yeah, there's limitless kind of like political structures that you can have.
I'll grant that.
Yeah.
There's also apparently limitless gullibility because Obi-Wan is sitting there being like dropping heavy bombs that he has no idea what the fuck is going on. He has no idea. He's like,
did they say who this army was for?
And then,
oh yes, this is for the Republic. Gotcha. Right.
And then the buddy's just like, oh well, you must be like itching to inspect your army, and he's like, yeah,
totally.
Like, what are you talking about?
Big in armies.
Suspect maybe he killed a guy and took his Tatooine robe, and like this could be anybody. How do you?
I feel like, I don't know.
You didn't ID the guy.
None of that really stood out to me because I was just kind of like the Kaminoans seemed like they were just like really, really, really proud of the clones, and they were just like, ooh, we have been waiting so long to show you. And so they don't care who shows up. They just want to show it off.
By the way, here's a personal anecdote that was definitely private about Boba Fett, a child. Now you know.
Wait, Boba Fett, what did he say about Boba Fett?
He's like, by the way, Django, is this Django?
Yeah, Jango Fett is the older one.
Django Unchained. Django has a kid that he took. He adopted and had him not altered. Like,
but
just FYI, that's kind of private.
No, it's not.
It's for the audience.
No. It's like Obi-Wan's there as a representative of the organization that commissioned the whole clone army. So it's like, oh, what do you got? Where's the original guy? He's like, oh, he used our resources that you're paying for to clone a son of his own. That was part of his compensation.
Also, who's doing the accounting for the Jedi Order? Like,
Sypha Diaz. No,
Siphon Diaz money out of here.
You know what I understood this time with that I really did not get the first time around is that, like, obviously I knew that Darth Sidious is kind of pulling the strings of everything, but this time I understood the actual mechanics of how it went. Like, okay, so he told Count Dooku, aka Tyrannus,
Who was a Jedi at the time.
who was a Jedi. Well, but this is what's funny. Tyrannus was a Jedi, but he commissioned the clone army under the name of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, who's been dead for 10 years.
Wasn't Sifo Dyas?
So Sifo Dyas
Dooku's-
wasn't actually involved at all.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They just used his name
Yeah.
to avoid being traced.
And they did that 10 years prior to this movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
While he was alive then.
I guess I guess he died and then they used his name right after, maybe?
That's why he's dead, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't he Dooku's apprentice?
I don't think they said anything about that.
It's like
But
Qui-Gon
what
was.
I didn't pick up on really was that Obi-Wan's chasing Master Sifo Dyas. He's like, I know that name. Okay, what's going on, Sifo Dyas? And then he goes and talks to Jango.
Sifo Dyas.
And he goes and talks to Jango. And, and he's like,
Dyas.
have you been to Coruscant? He's like, yes. Oh, you must have met Sifo Dyas. He's like, no, I was hired by a guy named Tyrannus.
Yeah.
And I left this out of the synopsis because I thought it was just like not super important. But anyways, it was like, oh, Tyrannus. Oh, that's how we know it was Count Dooku. Count Dooku is under Darth Sidious. And so now we know that Darth Sidious is organizing the creation of not only the clone army, but also the droid army.
And it's also raining. This is kind of like a noir detective movie.
Oh.
No, but your point there where both these armies are being cultivated by one party
Right.
and it's a fake war. That is kind of all on the page and the audience can see it, but no one in the movie says that out loud.
Right. It would be a much better movie if, like, we saw a little bit on the ground something like, okay, obviously these systems are actually wanting to join the separatist movement. There must be some sort of propaganda that they're putting out. Like, what are the reasonings that they're putting out there other than, you know, because, like, in this we could just, we're just see Sidious pulling the strings and he's just like, oh, the governments are deciding to do this thing, but, like, I'm assuming
this
they're
is what I'm saying.
democratic.
This is what I'm saying because
Right. They have to have some
it was
say.
enough in the meta, like 6 movie thing. It was enough to know it doesn't really matter. It's the bad guy.
It's been Sidious the whole
The
time.
bad guy is doing stuff.
Somehow Palpatine has returned.
Exactly. So it's like it
was
would
him the
actually
whole
just be
time.
more interesting if we saw the propaganda.
Right. It's not the Skywalker saga. It's the Palpatine saga.
Apparently.
One thing that I want to say before we really get into, you know, just kind of listing things that are stupid about the movie is for all the awkward dialogue and the stilted performances, these movies had some great action scenes. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah.
I liked them in the theater when I saw them. Remember the sonic booms?
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Also sound
sonically.
Oh, the seismic charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It still slaps, I feel like. This time around, we see them coming out just like, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Mini THX logos are going.
I just loved seeing, like, because we had seen Coruscant in The Phantom Menace, but in this one we get a whole car chase through it. They go down on the ground, we go in a bar.
Yeah.
I just feel like
fuck.
Coruscant
That
seems
part pissed me off.
but to a Star Wars fan, seeing Coruscant kind of like fleshed out in that detail was super cool.
Yeah.
And I think that like things like that made me overlook a lot of the shittiness about the movie because there's so much cool Star Wars stuff. You know, it's like, oh, we're in the bar and the guy comes up. The one thing that I
The
say
death
that
sticks part.
the death sticks is funny. Yeah, it's like you'll go home and rethink your life. I'll go home and rethink my life. Was that the guy from The Matrix? Was that Mouse? It looked like Mouse from The Matrix. And no one will ever know.
Someone else
No one
Google
has
it.
the answer.
We'll put that in our segment that we do where people.
Oh,
What is that called again? Whatever.
something.
Hold on. Called fan service.
Oh,
We'll put that in our next fan service segment next time.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody will tell us in the
let
comments.
us know if it's Mouse. The one thing that I did notice not the one thing. One of the things I noticed this time that I hadn't really paid attention much to before was the fact that there are a lot of like fan servicey things in here. That,
Oh, yeah.
Because like along with the cool action sequences, like, okay, it's super cool to see like an army of Jedi taking on an army of droids and they're like, blah, 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 huge giant action sequence. Cool.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, I'm watching it and I'm like, wait, did we need to have the exact same sequence where they're in a bar and someone comes up and then their arm is lopped off? That's just like fan service because that happens in A New Hope. Did we really need to, what was the other thing? Oh, Jango Fett. Do we really need to bring back like Boba Fett essentially and be like, oh, it's Boba Fett, but the first version?
And how much does Boba Fett love killing? The kid. He loves it.
Yeah.
Whenever his dad's like, we won't see him anymore, he's like, yeah!
He's a freaking psychopath. But like he's being raised by a weirdo bounty hunter, so I guess that makes sense.
It's so funny.
But he's just like, yeah, get him, Dad. Like his laughs were so bad.
Yeah.
Really fake. That kid's not actually laughing. He doesn't actually like killing people.
Yo, that bar scene was so annoying because they go in and Anakin's like, watch out. I think he's a she and she's a changeling. And then proceed for... It doesn't change shape at all.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that the alien was already morphed into the figure that they were chasing the whole time, but that is stupid. He says, watch out, she's a changeling. She should change. There'd be so much more suspense. We don't know who we're looking for. But instead, no, we just go to shots of the same person.
Yeah, it would be like if they're a changeling, they could take their hat off and morph into something else for
and then they die, and then they change back, so it was completely extraneous. It didn't need to exist at all.
Yeah, why are they a changeling? Because
no reason.
George Lucas thought it would be cool to
So
have
dumb.
the CGI of the face going crazy. Yeah, the Jedi, they could just cut the gun in half.
Yeah. Also, why did Jango Fett hire another bounty hunter? Like, I feel like you're taking a bit of your cut out of your,
Well, I think he's like, I know that she's probably going to die. Well, he's going to kill her if she fails. So it was just kind of like insurance.
But why didn't he also kill the Jedis when he,
Did you just say Jedi?
Because they would sense it.
Yeah.
Because they
Two
would.
Jedi? Is it Jedis?
Mark, are you actually a Star Wars guy?
Get him out of
He's
here.
a Mandalorian.
What do you mean?
Can't he just be like...
Oh, you're just
He's moving on.
skipping right past our criticism.
Oh, sorry.
Jedi is plural and singular.
Jedi.
Fake.
Okay, so
Jedi.
you're saying that he should have done the mission himself and
Jedi.
and attacked the Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah, he should have just cut a hole in the window, throw a thermal detonator in there, and you're done.
I was thinking, what you're talking about? Why he didn't kill the Jedi?
Just the whole assassination attempt just made no sense to me.
Especially since a human
Because
body.
R2-D2 would detect a thermal detonator.
And then what? Oh,
And then be like, pew, pew, pew.
And
And,
then
like, get
what?
out of the...
it explodes.
No, they have fuses.
And like Obi-Wan just jumps through that window.
Yeah.
R2-D2 might have some sort of, like, who knows? Apparently, according to this movie, R2-D2 has basically any gadget according to the situation.
No, he doesn't, because when the bugs are in there and he like suspects something, he freaking shines a flashlight to look for them. Like, he's not using lasers or thermals. He's using damn light.
Yeah.
He's a robot. That was so stupid. Shine a damn laser over the room.
It's Star Wars.
Exactly.
But this is the thing. With Star Wars, you have excuses like this because
I'm going to use my Note 9 to
Star
illuminate
Wars,
this room.
Star Wars is space fantasy. So in fantasy, you can't just be like, why couldn't they have a spell for just detecting this and making everything perfect again? It's like, no, there are like magic, there's rules in the universe. And one of the rules is that sometimes they don't have all the advanced stuff that you would expect a spacefaring civilization to have, like thermal cameras in an astromech droid.
Yeah, but using the information the movie gave us, one being a human body who jumps can go through this window, and two being Jango Fett has a badass jetpack.
He's a Jedi. He pushed it. He did the force
Jango
push
could have
through
just jetpacked his ass with his helmet head first through that window, shot her as she's sleeping.
No, because
and then
R2-D2 would
peaced out.
see it.
So? Hey, I
So
saw
then he'd alert the Jedi and they'd come in.
a guy with a helmet came in here and killed her.
Okay, look,
now he's gone.
There's lots wrong with this movie. We don't have to have to criticize this. But I wanted to talk about. Well, I just wanted to address your criticisms. Like, why didn't Jango Fett kill the Jedi when he killed what's her name, the other one, the changeling?
Like, he shoots the dart into her neck. He could have just shot them in the head.
He could have shot them, but they have the Force. They probably would have sensed something's wrong and then and then
Yeah, but they
stop it.
reacted to.
Yeah,
her getting
because
shot.
they didn't sense that they were gonna get killed.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. No,
There's rules.
Wait, so they have like spidey sense, but only for themselves?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I
like
don't
when he
know. I
pulls
don't
it
know if
out.
that's true. I just made that up.
Pulls it
No,
out and he's like, "It's a dart, a deadly dart." It's like you didn't.
Why are you
you didn't just say that at all.
What? a toxic dart. Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you.
One of those deadly darts we've heard about. What are some other, like, is there any other big things? Not really.
I have just a whole list of stupid shit.
Okay. The last, like, good thing that I'll say about this movie is that I really appreciated Anakin's sort of, like, rationale for wanting to be more powerful. Because I think that, like, in the beginning, you're like, all right, he's being rude, he's talking back to Obi-Wan, he's just being sassy, like, what's wrong with this kid? If he was raised the same as, I mean, he entered training late, I guess, but, like, why is he being so sassy, more so than other Padawans we're assuming? And I think that there's a better rationale as we get to the end where he's like, okay, he's haunted by dreams of his mother. He knows that he left her and he feels guilty about that. He goes back to save her. He fails to save her, and then he's like, I can never let this happen again. I will become so powerful that the people I love won't die. And that made sense to me.
It
I was
would
like,
have
I
been
can see
even
this.
better though if implicated in her death was the Jedi's own inaction,
Right.
or
Right.
incompetence.
That would have been even better, for
Yeah.
sure. Because then he would be like there's something wrong with the system, which is like the movie is like kind of trying to say, but it's like it's kind of buried in there unless you're really paying attention.
So stupid that his mom dies like that though.
Oh my god!
It's like he's been gone for 10 years. He shows up conveniently 5 seconds before she was gonna die anyway.
yeah.
Like what?
I didn't understand.
Why?
But
Just
she's like,
cut her down and get the hell out of there.
but she's like on the verge of death, and then seeing Anakin made her.
She says, "I'm at peace now."
Yeah.
But was it like she was like keeping herself alive, just being like, maybe he'll come, and then she's like, okay, he's here.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of like, over the top dramatic poetry that George Lucas is super into.
That's classic George Lucas being like, and then, it's so tragic that she dies. And the way that she dies, she throws her head back like, gong. Do you get it, audience? She's dead now.
Also, Owen Lars.
Yeah.
He looks older than Anakin in some shots. Or like very close in age.
Wait, are you talking about Owen or Klieg?
Owen.
Klieg is the dad. Owen's
Klieg is
his
the dad.
stepbrother.
Owen.
But it's kind of like,
They're like around the same age.
yeah, but like,
Anakin's 19 here. Like,
So
what would he be?
basically-
Like early 20s?
huh? Anakin? No.
Owen.
Owen, but then Owen is
Luke's father.
yeah.
Well,
Luke's
he's
uncle.
Luke's uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But I thought
Uncle Owen.
Owen is like directly related to Anakin.
He's his
To them.
stepbrother because Klieg Lars
So no,
married Anakin's mom.
Yeah.
So technically, Anakin would be stepbrothers with
wait,
Owen.
wait,
but,
wait.
but Anakin's mom is not Owen's mom.
Shmi.
No.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not his half brother. It's his stepbrother.
Okay. All right. That clears everything.
There you
yeah,
go.
because he would be 9 years younger.
Yeah. I was like,
Even if it happened right away.
what happened here?
I love when, like, he's there to protect Padme, and he's like,
Stay here. I got-
Yes.
stay here. You'll be safe here.
Yeah.
Except my mom wasn't. She was kidnapped from this very spot. See you later.
No, she was out. Shmi got taken when she was
Yeah,
out
yeah.
at the tending to the moisture farm.
I mean,
But I mean,
that's the yard outside. But okay.
No, they have stuff all over the place. It's like a
Yeah.
big giant thing. They have the
Yeah, their house is
the
really.
moisture pods,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that little hovel they live
She
in.
was-
That's really protected.
She was gathering mushrooms that grow on the moisture pod.
The Tusken Raiders would not dare approach this little igloo we live in.
Can I just say I really enjoy defending this movie. I know it's stupid. Just so I make it clear to anyone in the audience who's like, "Wait, Riley actually thinks it's a good movie." I know it's a bad movie. I just enjoy it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, that same spot where he goes to, he's looking for his mom. Totally inappropriate in my view is the use of
Killing women and
the,
children.
the Duel of the Fates song
Oh,
playing
yeah.
during that montage of him looking. There's literally a montage. It's a shot of him like talking to Jawas, and they're like pointing that way, and you hear like. I'm like, this
On the
is
speeder
Oh, really?
this
Yeah.
is way too intense for what's going on.
Oh man, I
Well,
liked it.
I liked it too, but at the same time, I'm like, they could have composed something different for that. Like,
I feel like okay, go ahead.
well, I just felt the tone was right. It's just,
Oh, it would be better if they didn't
if they
use
did
Duel of the
something
Fates specifically.
because that was specifically that's Darth Maul.
And it's
That's
also
what I
just
think
it's
of.
too epic. Like
What
that.
did you think of Darth Maul?
Because-
Interesting.
Well, yeah, they
But
fight
they
in
also-
that Energy Beam hallway.
Well, but they also use it at the end of Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin are
But that
fighting.
movie didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
When this,
But I
movie
just mean
comes
Duel
out-
of the Fate. Okay, fair enough. If you're seeing this movie for the first time and it makes you think of the first time you heard it, which
Yeah.
was in the Darth Maul.
super
film.
epic, and then even the other fight scene you just cited is super epic. This is not super epic.
See, I
This is
feel
him
like
driving a motorcycle in the desert, being like, "Hey, have you seen this lady?"
okay, so like that sequence starts with this like the whole lighting changes, and he's like speeding across the desert, and we get kind of like this like close up on him on the bike, and it's like we see this dark like complexion on his
Should
face
have been heavy metal.
in a Star Wars movie.
Day I was born, there's all gather round.
They bring back the sound effect for the bounty hunter's ship on Coruscant. Did you notice that? It's like boo.
Oh,
bad to the bone.
add to the lightsaber. I liked it because it was like, it's just like this epic shot of him like going like, those speeder bikes go ridiculously fast. And it's like to the point where it's like, no one can pilot that with human reflexes.
Put some goggles on.
But he's got the force.
His eyes are so squinty.
I felt like the choir coming in is like, oh, and it's like, he's about to go fucking murder some people. You know,
the women and children.
It felt like the beginning of this really downward turn in the dark arc of Anakin. It's like he's going down now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It worked for me.
Okay. How about that part where they're chasing the assassin, and then the assassin shoots that like gate, and shooting it makes electricity go across the gate.
The power coupling.
And then they're like, "Oh no!" And then they drive through it with 0 consequences.
Yeah. That was kind of weak. It's like
that was really weak.
First of all, go around.
Yeah.
You're flying.
Yeah.
You're not that close. You
Anakin, how many times have I told you?
Go up.
Stay away from power couplings.
Go left.
Oh,
go
we're
right.
fine now.
it's called character
It
development.
just didn't make.
It's because they're Jedi.
What the hell was that?
You can explain it all away with space magic. I'm just kidding.
So stupid.
It's like unquestionably stupid. Okay, are we into hit picks and nitpicks, or are there bigger things that you want to, bigger fish you want to fry? Space fish.
Let's do it.
Nitpicks.
You got one, Riley?
I have many. Well, the first sort of nitpick, I guess, is in the beginning when the assassination attempt happens. And the girl, this is probably not a thing. It's just like stuck out to me. She's like, "I'm sorry, Senator, I failed you."
I love this part.
And she's like, "Wait, how did you fail her? You just got killed."
Exactly. It's like, no, you just did exactly your job.
She's your job. She survived. Like the queen survived, or the senator now.
Kind of redeemed by her captain being like, no, she did her duty. You did yours.
Right,
or
right.
Whatever.
I failed you. By how? By dying?
Like, no, this is why I hired you.
Yeah.
Thank you for dying for me. Dope.
I have another one right away. They're talking about Count Dooku, and they're like, "Oh, who's behind the assassination attempts on Senator Amidala?" And they're like, "Could it be Count Dooku?" And it's like, "No, Count Dooku wouldn't assassinate anyone. It's not. He used to be a Jedi. It's not in his nature or something." And it's like, what? He used to be a Jedi, and then he left the Jedi Order. Why are you like, no? I know him. He would never.
He's just the leader of this giant separatist movement.
What are you talking about? He wouldn't. It was just like, what? Anyway.
What was the deal, by the way, when Obi-Wan is tied up and Dooku's given this like kind of James Bondian
Monologue?
deluge of information, but he's kind of misleading him. Like he tells him, "Yo, a Sith Lord is in control of the Republic."
Yeah.
Right.
Even though,
That was really confusing.
does he just do that for ego? Like he's stoked about it?
No, I think he's trying to tell him that, like, hey, the reason why I'm doing this separatist thing is because the Republic is corrupt, and there's actually a Sith Lord behind the scenes over here, so we're trying to start something better that's not...
Is he trying to recruit him?
Yeah, he's trying to be like,
yeah.
join us because the Senate is messed up and the Republic is
He
messed
only
up.
reveals that he's Sith after that.
Yes, but that was why I was confused, because midway through that conversation, I'm like, wait, is he revealing to Obi-Wan that he's, like, in league with the Sith Lord now?
No.
But then, at the end of the scene, it's clear that, like, no, I'll try to secure your release, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm like, oh, okay, wait, so he didn't reveal. It was just unclear in that scene what information was known by both parties.
Yeah.
This is it is what it is, pick. Some of the actors in the background playing Jedi, like the Jedi you don't know,
Yeah.
they look hilariously amateur. And I don't know what that is in a movie, but there's something about like the kinds of faces of people that get cast in movies versus the faces of normal people or stunt people, who are these people probably are.
Yes.
They have different faces.
Man.
And you can, or maybe it's just like the effort they get on makeup and hair.
The one that really sticks out to me is Kit Fisto. I knew you would laugh at that. He's the guy with
That's a porn actor name.
He's the guy with the big, like, glossy black eyes and the dreads and stuff.
Tentacle dreads?
Yeah, tentacle dreads. He's green.
Yeah.
And he just looks like they just slapped a mask on somebody.
No, not that guy. There's just somebody else who has like a nice Gaston kind of coif.
Yeah. I love all their poses. They're like, oh, we're revealing that we're here at the Coliseum, and they're all turning on their lightsaber, but they're all turning it on with like a funny pose. They're like, ha, I do mine over my head, and I do mine over here. And one of the ladies like turns on her lightsaber and then pushes her hand to the right. I'm like, what are you doing? What is that motion? Are you force pushing someone? There's no one close to you. It was so great. I just like laughed out loud for a couple minutes.
Oh, speaking of depictions of people, there's more racism in this movie. If you didn't think episode 1 had enough with like the Trade Federation.
Yeah.
In this one, there's a line, the banking clan will sign your treaty, says a Jewish-looking alien.
Wait.
What? Yo, did you notice that futuristic gondola on Naboo? They show up to her like retreat on Naboo. They walk out of a
little boat?
a little boat.
Yeah.
And it's like all angular and plastic and multicolored.
That's one thing that's like a recurring theme in this movie where he brings in things that we know from our world, but then just like changes them so that they're sci-fi. Like there's like that gondola could have been a regular boat. Like
Yes.
it didn't have to be. It didn't have to look like a starfighter on the water.
They live in stone, like marble palaces with waterfalls. It's very naturalistic.
I think this is something that kind of Star Wars realized after the prequels. It's like, oh wait, we can just have normal, like, it's not like people would stop making wooden
They have
boats.
so much wood on Naboo.
Yeah, exactly.
So much wood.
And the other example of that to me is literally George is like literally put a 50s diner in Star Wars.
Yeah,
like it's literally just a 50s diner with a robot waitress.
With a sci-fi veneer. You want some Jawa juice?
Yeah, can I get you some Jawa juice? Okay. Oh, my old friend. Okay, I'll come out and talk to you from behind the counter. I'm scratching my butt.
Yo, Dex is a hell of an actor, though.
Oh,
his delivery.
I love that character.
That's a hit pick
Yeah.
for me.
Depends on your how big your pocketbook is. I love it. And I like that character, but it's just like you couldn't come up with a different setting. It's space. We can make anything we want. It's like I want a 50s diner. Okay, all right.
American Graffiti.
That's true.
I think I got another hit pick. They did a great job on Watto's little cameo.
Yeah.
When Watto realizes that it's Anakin,
Yeah.
that was really well done.
Honestly, one of the best parts of the movie because I felt it like that was one of the Watto speaks in a way that just feels more natural than so many of the other characters because George gets caught up in this like I'm making a space opera thing, and then we get to Watto and we're like, oh, we're back down to earth here. We're with like realistic characters, even though he's a flying alien.
He's another ethnic alien. It's all. Hey, Annie. How about some shawarma?
That's how Toydarians talk. Yeah, he's not quite there.
Turkish and New York now.
Yeah, sure. I love Watto.
Yeah.
That was a nice one.
I just mean from a technical level, like the way his eyes kind of like glint and light up, and his neck and head move. He's like you can just see him recognizing it, which was pretty impressive for a full CG character.
There was a lot of little nuances in the CGI there. That was great. I have a hit pick. Yoda teaching the younglings when he's like, lost a planet Master Obi-Wan has. How embarrassing.
Yeah.
How embarrassing. I was just like, I don't know. I was surprised that I didn't hear the kids laughing because I thought that would be nice. I'm like, oh, I'd like to have Yoda as a teacher.
They do laugh.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't diddle me.
I don't know.
Let me wear your underwear.
Speak for yourself.
Much to learn you still have.
I actually have a huge Yoda nitpick, and I wonder if you guys care about this. Okay, it all comes down to around the survivors a perimeter create.
The clones.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
The clones have never heard anyone talk like this before. They're like, what the fuck?
He doesn't have to talk like that.
Not every time.
What do you mean? Of course he does.
He does, but like
He doesn't. He literally doesn't. Not
He's
only is it
Yoda.
okay. Well, here's a couple lines that are also Yoda from the same movie.
Uh-oh.
Concentrate all your fire on the nearest starship.
yeah.
On the nearest starship, all your firepower concentrate.
All your fire on the nearest starship. He doesn't know. He says it straightforward, and it's an imperative. It's an order, just like this other thing.
He was stressed.
It doesn't make any sense.
He was stressed in that moment. He forgot what he was supposed to do.
But another time he goes, to the nearest village, take me. But sometimes it's backwards, sometimes it's not. And I just think in wartime, he would go straight ahead. It just doesn't make any sense for him to say around the survivors a perimeter create, and it just sounds fucking stupid.
This script really could have used a script doctor more than it probably already had. Like, who knows how much worse the script was before like someone else was like, okay, we have to clean
He
this
says
up.
to the younglings, gather around the map reader. He can do commands straightforward.
It's just how he feels.
Yeah, he was stressed out. You're right. That's what it is.
You
You got something?
I mean, I guess for me, one was the ending when you see the proto Star Destroyers and everything, and it's like, yeah, these are this is the Empire for me.
Yeah.
and you hear the
theme.
The Imperial March. It's like,
Dun.
oh yeah, like that actually, like I watched through the movie and I'm like, this is kind of goofy, but then that whole ending sequence, I was like, okay, like I got a little bit of shivers from that. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is Star Wars.
They were stroking your member berries.
Yeah.
One thing that we Star Wars really just has become. Remember this? But one thing that we didn't talk about, because it's like so much a given when you watch a Star Wars movie, is the fact that the John Williams score is freaking phenomenal. And honestly, Star Wars would not be anywhere near as much of a cultural icon, I feel like, if it didn't have that music.
Not a chance.
So iconic. So like it just rustles my jimmies.
Okay. You might have an opinion on this, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something I brought up before where it's dumb how all the Jedi in the prequels wear cloaks that they do, because the only reason Obi-Wan is wearing that in the original trilogy is because he's hiding on Tatooine as a recluse, and this is Tatooine clothes. And then they retcon this to the Jedi.
We already talked about this.
Yeah, I know, but hold on, I have a new thing.
Okay.
They do it again in this movie, a similar retcon where it's like, okay, it's earlier, so let's use imagery from the previous movies and put it into this prequel, even though it doesn't make any sense. You see these younglings, they're all holding their little lightsabers, and they all have these helmets on, blocking their with visors down, blocking their vision, and they're all fighting these floating droids like it's part of their training. Like, that's not part of their down training.
Wait, what do you mean? Why not?
Because they just did that in the start in the original movies, because that's what they had on hand in the ship. It wasn't like official Jedi training. It was just like, we have this little droid and we happen to have a fighter pilot helmet, so put it on and see if you can use the Force. And then they retcon that to be like, yeah, this is just, it's supposed to be like a little fan service thing, but it's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
I disagree. I feel like it makes way more sense for these younglings to be doing that, to have those like custom helmets with a thing that goes down in front of your eyes. Then it makes sense for that helmet with a blast shield on it to exist They have
those, and real fighter pilots have those. There's a visor you can pull down that you can't see through. That's a real thing.
What, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. What's the purpose of that?
I don't know. Flashbangs? I don't know. Do you know?
Flashbangs in fighter jets?
I don't know. Really bright shit. I feel like I've seen that before. Is that real? Aviation nuts, get at us.
I'm thinking like welding masks more than anything.
Yeah, what do you guys, you have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't.
But
I hate it still because it's the same thing.
Pilot helmet.
The substitute, I would think, would be like, just, go along with the whole cloak and everything. Everything's fabric. Just have like a blindfold would be more than adequate.
Yeah, but you're right. So even if we grant, if we're being charitable, we grant rally, that'll be,
okay.
It makes sense. For
fighter pilots have blast shields, quote unquote, but it's not opaque like in A New Hope. So they have they're just like really thick sunglasses. They can still see through it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So it makes zero sense to have something that just like completely blocks. That always bothered me about A New Hope.
Well, Luke is a low vision individual. You didn't know that?
This one actually makes it make sense. So it's like the opposite for me.
But Mark's point still remains.
What?
Why do they have these huge helmets? Why don't they just have blindfolds? Doesn't match their aesthetic.
Huge helmets are a Star Wars thing. Everybody's got huge helmets.
I hate it.
They're oversized.
Yeah.
It's a style thing.
Yeah. And they didn't call them helmets. They called them hats.
Did they call them hats?
They called them hats. just watch
notice that. Take off your hats.
Return of the Jedi. Princess Leia gets knocked off the speeder bike, and then the
Stormtrooper?
No, what,
the Ewok?
Ewok approaches him, and she's like, "It's just a hat."
Well, she's just saying the word hat because it's a little simple. I
infantilizes
called a helmet hat to my child for a while because I don't want him to actually know what helmets are.
But it's an Ewok. It's not.
I don't do that at all. I always I talk to my kids like adults.
Yeah.
I give them as many words as possible.
Right.
They'll pick up on it.
One day.
I have a nitpick here.
Oh, me too.
You go first.
Are they having fucking pears for dinner?
It's an appetizer.
But literally all that's on the table is just fruit, and she picks up a pear or a space pear. It's not an actual pear, but she cuts it she's gonna cut it on a plate. What are you doing? No one eats pears like that.
She's the damn queen.
Yo,
funny. Did you see the deleted scene where they have a banana next and he just floats it directly into her mouth? He peels it one by one with the Force.
Jedi aren't allowed to do this.
You ever take a really big bite of a banana and then, it breaks off too long and you have to swallow it like a baby bird?
Yeah.
It's in this scene.
You're
you guys should
gagging
see
yourself?
It's on YouTube. Just joking. Padme presses the same button twice on the console of the ship to do two different actions. it's like there's a B-roll shot that just points right at the console. She presses one button to direct a message to the Coruscant, and then it cuts back. She presses the exact same button to look at the distances to Geonosis.
It's a walkie-talkie button. It's just like
it's
it
the toggle switch.
goes both ways.
It's so stupid.
It just happens. Those are the two things it does.
It's really funny though that they would use the shot. Like they didn't have to show
There's like
it.
4 buttons. Just press the other one.
They were literally just like, okay, press a button, and then she presses the same button, but they didn't notice. When
What a
they're
hack
shooting.
actor. Like she's not like Jared Leto, like she's not living in Padme for 8 months, you know?
How do we feel about R2D2 flying? Do you remember how it made you feel when you first saw it? I feel like when I first saw it, my reaction was like, okay.
He's a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
It felt kind of weird, but at the same time, you're just like, I guess there's no reason why he wouldn't have the jets.
Where's all the propellant?
It's in his body. He's got this big tub. He's just a big canister.
He does a lot of flying. He flies a little far, I thought.
Yeah. He flies for a while.
It didn't bother me as much as, I guess Padme and Anakin are fighting a conveyor belt, and at the end, they're in love. If you conquer a conveyor belt, you're in love now.
I forgot where I heard this, but I believe that whole scene, that whole sequence was added in after the production.
What? The platforming scene?
Yeah. I don't know if it's just the droids, like C-3PO and R2-D2, or if it's like everything with Anakin and Padme as well. But
it was pretty extraneous.
and it was kind of like added on.
Yeah.
It's like George Lucas saw the when Obi-Wan comes in and sees the whole droids being, oh, that looks pretty cool.
Oh, we should have a thing.
We
should literally put Anakin and Padme in a video game platforming section.
Yeah.
Where they're just like playing Frogger.
This will do great for video games.
Like we see Padme go through like 3 or 4 of these things.
They don't show Anakin because there's a cakewalk for him.
He's just like slapping things with his lightsaber. Yeah, it was very. It was not needed at all, and it wasn't even really that exciting.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not really fighting people. He fights some of the Geonosians, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but especially like
it was fine.
Like C-3PO just looks like proto Lego movie, like the old
Yeah,
ones. When he
CGI.
was CGI C-3PO, I just can't.
A lot of the CGI looks pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the animals.
But the green screen looked awful.
Yeah.
What did?
Green screen backgrounds.
hair?
Oh yeah.
The hair, I was like, I've done a better job.
I didn't notice the key. I just noticed the unreality of.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, there's
background.
that. The
No,
lighting,
definitely the environments look a lot worse than some of the, because I don't know, like when you see a creature or a character that's all CGI in this movie from like 2002,
Yeah.
I'm like, I expect it to kind of look not so great.
And they're pretty audacious. They like hug.
Right.
Obi
right.
hugs that dude with 4 arms.
Yeah.
It's also the first second Star Wars movie. All the prequels were not. All the originals were edited by Marcia Griffin,
Oh.
but the prequels were.
Oh.
And that's kind of one point that I've had for a long time, where I'm like, it might have been a little bit better
right.
if it actually had Marcia Griffin.
Didn't she come out recently and say something about how the sequels screwed up Luke or something?
Sequels?
Yeah, the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. A lot of people.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I think like people were kind of like, oh, look, there's more validation. Like any tiny bit of validation they can get from some
Official
character of
source.
authority,
Yeah.
like who was involved with the original trilogy, saying that the sequels, there's something wrong with them. Like people latch onto it, including me. I was like, yeah, tell it.
Yeah.
Preach.
I thought it was interesting that Obi-Wan, like there's this line where he says, well, if droids could think, there'd be none of us here. And I wrote, I see, Obi-Wan is a bigot. Because it's like, it's always been a question of whether droids are like sentient in the Star Wars universe. It's kind of implied that they are, but at the same time, they're kind of like, they're robots.
I guess
so
they're
you
just
don't
trying
really-
to set them up as menacing because they're going to be villainous.
There's a nitpick I have. I'm sorry. You just reminded me.
Bring it on.
Obi-Wan, while he's traveling alone, talking to himself the entire time, he could have been talking to R4. But no, he's just like, oh, wow, that really hurt. And like stuff like that. Nobody.
This is why I hate flying and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is why I hate flying. It's like, you could have been like actually talking.
You
like
could
Luke.
treat R4 like a person.
Yeah, like Luke talks to R2-D2.
Yeah.
And that like makes that whole dynamic where it's like you can have that exposition by communicating with your droid.
Yeah.
But like it just feels so forced from Obi-Wan.
Interestingly, I feel like Star Wars has a more realistic portrayal of where AI would actually lead. Like,
Yeah.
do we think that AI is actually going to get to a point where it can like fully simulate or fully exhibit consciousness in the same way that humans do?
Yes.
Well, sure, Homo Deus or whatever. Maybe that'll happen, but I feel like it might be more likely that AI will get like so close where it's like can really approximate consciousness, but it's not quite there. And maybe that's where the droids are in Star Wars.
Well, I think I agree with you because I think that there's going to be a whole spectrum of consciousnesses,
Right.
of consciousness levels,
Right.
and like for a certain job, like a droid that vacuums,
Yeah.
it can just be as conscious as a caterpillar.
Right.
If it's another robot, maybe it can be as conscious as a dog.
Yeah.
And then
I guess when I
my
say-
sex doll, I want to be as conscious as
I guess
You,
I
Riley.
guess I'll differentiate between like consciousness and sentience, where it's like you have self-awareness, or like, you know, like some apes get close to this, or they are there, but they're just like really dumb while being sentient still. You know?
just because they throw poop doesn't mean they're dumb.
Well,
Because they're free.
they're dumb.
They tell it like it
It's-
is.
They haven't built a civilization yet, so that's on them.
I think with droids, it's not that you know of.
Whoa.
Uh,
Planet of the Apes. Could happen.
Or that theory that like, what if dolphins are as smart as us? They just don't have hands.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's really cool.
Maybe.
They could be. They just play that little ribbon game.
Or
That's all
maybe
they
they're
got.
just like droids.
you can't just evolve in the brain. You got to evolve there.
Yeah, in the penis.
I'm picturing those like Doctor Strange like fingers with hands on them, like all the way down, but on a pee-pee.
Do I have anything else? I don't think so.
Not me.
C3PO's little puns. This is such a drag.
It was over the top.
Oh, I'm quite beside myself.
It was over the top.
See,
I liked it.
that's where I believe that it was added in after, because
Right.
nobody would like put that in the first script review.
Normally things like that, I feel like especially in Star Wars, things like that can work really well, but these
Yeah.
felt like a little much.
You know
It
what's
was like,
dumb
oh,
too? is
okay.
Those are clearly dad jokes, but he was programmed by a 9-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
No, I love his personality.
Oh, also, what was it? When he notices Anakin for the first time, C-3PO.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, it's the creator. And
Yeah.
then in A New Hope, when he's like being bathed and he comes out and he's like, oh, praise the creator.
Yeah, praise the maker.
Praise the maker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, that was Anakin.
Yeah.
I just clued in as like, you
See,
know.
like, yeah, when you first see that movie, you're just
Yeah.
like, droids just think of whoever made them. As
I think that's how it's written, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it was written.
I don't think it was.
It's a
I don't
retcon.
think he intended that C-3PO would be made by, because that's dumb. That's Anakin just. I don't know. I thought that was always dumb. That like, what do you mean Anakin made C-3PO? He's a protocol droid. There's a million other protocol droids just like him.
Yeah, I think he
got the
used, like-
blueprints online.
Yeah, I used open source personalities and stuff. Like,
They have the
parts.
internet out on Tatooine.
I wish he was portrayed more like an engineer, because
Yeah.
the whole time you see him like jumping out of cars and flying around and being,
Anakin.
yeah, and being like petulant and stuff. And then it's only when he finally goes back to Tatooine and then is like tinkering when
Yeah.
he's depressed that you're like, oh yeah, he's like a genius engineer.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was like,
it is
we're
cool,
bringing-
but like the rest of his character, it makes you forget that because he doesn't act like
Well,
that.
because I don't think it's like a super hardcore part of his personality, but I think it just like those scenes serve to connect us to episode 1, where we see that we remember like, oh yeah, he built C-3PO.
But it kind of, as a kid, it was a huge part of his identity. He built his own pod racer. He built his own robot. It's like being an
Yeah.
engineer is like his main
It's-
thing.
well,
It's kind of his rosebud.
Lane.
Like in.
Have you seen Citizen Kane?
Citizen
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Well, it's like it's been on my list, but I'm like, when am I
All right,
actually
well,
going
I'm
to
not-
sit down and bore myself for a while? You know.
Wow.
It's like a physical touchstone that represents the best time of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I feel like for him, engineering things at that point of his life was like it allowed him to kind of escape his conditions a little bit. But now he's a Padawan learner. He's like out in the Jedi, he's planet hopping all the time, going on adventures. And this was more like, oh yeah, I remember. He's kind of like brings him back to Earth and like grounds him a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was like how he, when he was a kid, engineering things like was how he exhibited his force sensitivity.
Yeah.
He's so good at this, and he shouldn't be.
So I don't know what I want. Maybe I want him to like tinker with his robot arm that they gave him,
Yeah.
or like talk about how he could have built a better lightsaber, or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it was like a super. It was
MacGyver some shit,
like,
you know?
It's just like a window dressing. It's just like an aesthetic. It's like, yeah, he can engineer stuff too.
He can do everything.
All the Skywalkers are good engineers. They're good pilots, and they're headstrong. You know, it's just like one of the qualities. It's not very important. It's just a thing. I thought it was rude how they didn't like really greet Jar Jar with any warmth at all.
Would you?
That was my last. That was my last kind of nitpick.
I feel like if you touch
Jar Jar's like, oh, so happy to see you, sir, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, yeah. Where's Padme? Like, get out of the way. That was for the audience. That was like, look, we don't respect Jar Jar either.
I've said this a bit before, but I feel like it bears fleshing out. I really wish Anakin was more likable and suave, and like some semblance of flirting happened in this movie at some point, or like he was cool, or you wanted to be like him. But no, he's so damn cringe. He's like, oh, I haven't seen you in 10 years. I'm just gonna be like, hello, my love. Like, what?
I haven't stopped thinking about you for one day.
Like,
I dream of you naked.
he says that like in the first 2 seconds of seeing this person.
Yeah, I feel like it's partially Hayden Christensen. It's big part is the writing.
Huge part, 90%.
Because like some of the things that he says could kind of come across as like playful and teasing and stuff, like where they're talking about politics and he's like, well, you know, they should just all agree on what's best. And they're like, that's what the system we have now. And he's like, but sometimes people don't agree. And he's like, well, maybe they should be made to. And I feel like there's a way that somebody could kind of like have this sort of like intellectual sort of back and forth and have it be playful, but it really just was awkward and
you just cited his
badly
least
written.
cringe lines too.
Well, well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
there are some lines that
if he was
aren't
nervous about
horribly
seeing her for
cringe.
10 years, he probably would have been more delicate and just been like, hey, or like dropped a couple jokes or something,
but-
tried to make her laugh. Like, if
But he thinks he's the shit.
he
He struggles with arrogance.
This is
struggles with more than arrogance.
Yeah.
This is kind of where like I'm thinking like from an editorial standpoint. Like as an editor, I would just cut that out and be like,
Right.
you know, this is better.
You would only have his action scenes left. That's all.
Well,
That's all you would have.
probably.
And that's why
But no,
maybe they did that, and that's why it's not clearly the protagonist.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why his amount of screen time is less.
that's true.
Yeah.
It could have been way worse.
You would say, screw you, George, I'm cutting this.
Yeah,
And like ship it without him knowing.
Here's a nitpick.
That would have been better for everybody.
How about that time where like Obi-Wan falls off the side of the building and Fett thinks that he's done, and then Obi-Wan runs back out through that same dock door that he came through, back to square run, and then he's like just standing there.
What do you mean?
He's just standing there, and he throws that tracking device onto the ship.
Standing there for what? What? He's not standing there. He's running after him, and they're already taking off. So
I know, but what I'm saying is he's way out in the open, and they just didn't notice he was there again. They would have just like shot him up.
They were already taking off. They thought he was dead. They weren't paying attention.
They would have seen him.
All right.
That kid sees everything.
I've been on
Very
Slave.
astute.
I've been on Slave One, and it has those sensors. Also, what? It's not called Slave One anymore. They don't want to call it Slave One.
Why not? It's a bad guy.
No,
ship.
that's just Lego.
No, it's like a thing. Like they're
Really?
not calling it. They're like I think the ship is still canonically called Slave One.
It better
but
be.
they're not ever calling it Slave One again officially. They're just like pretending it doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
It's a fire spray class freighter or whatever.
I mean, it doesn't really need a name.
I guess. Well,
why was it called that?
all ships have a name. That's the name of the ship.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
It's called Slave One because I don't know. He's like a bounty hunter.
Wasn't
and
it
he
like
enslaves people.
Yeah.
Is it a caps lock? Maybe it's an acronym.
Could be. Yeah, they should bring it back. Bring it.
Star level
don't-
automatic
I don't even wanna-
vehicle
Uh-huh.
entourage.
Exit.
That's our exit. Let's get out of here. You
Yeah.
can tweet at us at TJMPod. You can call me. You can.
What?
Hello at thereJustMovies.com. And also next week, what are we doing?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Don't know what it is.
So excited.
Except for me.
You don't know anything about the movie?
You won't be here.
I won't be here.
Yeah, sorry, Mark.
Bye,
That's
Mark.
okay.
We'll bring you back. You'll probably be back for episode 3.
Oh, I would love to be.
We'll see what David.
Yeah. See.
Bye.
Bye.